Meditations with Frank Jordan and the Earth Mind Think Tank Group. We welcome all listeners and chatters. Any questions can be called in to 1-775-657-5973. 1-775-657-5973. If you're in the chat room on Wolf Spirit Radio, which is wolfspiritradio.com/wolfchat, please post questions in uppercase letters, in capital letters. Thank you. Now on with the show. You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio. June the 1st, 2014, Healings and Meditations with Frank Jordan and a large Earth Mind Think Tank healing group. Loads of people on today, including Frank Jordan. Good evening.
Yes, I actually made it also, so here we are. Interesting day, interesting times, so many things happening, shifts and changes in the world, and when you go behind the news scene, which really never tells us anything, onto the internet, to all the events that are happening behind the scenes that never get reported, but because of the internet and this communal chat rooms we have and whatnot, information it's just spread like the speed of light around the world now, and it's prompting incredible changes. What do you see in terms of that, JP?
Well, it just feels like everything is happening all at the same time, and I feel like I'm having to squeeze myself through a very, very narrow gap that doesn't allow any flab or fluff or dogma or attachment or anything that could that presents an unyielding attitude. I just find that I have to be completely yielding like water, like the old Bruce Lee thing, be like water.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm having to meet this thing. It's just like accept whatever criticism might come my way. Okay, right, fine, thanks. Can we move on?
Yeah, go with the flow, because it's going to change in a few minutes anyway. And if we resist it or try to hold the old forms, we get caught up in the old forms to our detriment in many cases. And I'm talking about expansion of consciousness here. And the fact that each idea that we allow into our systems percolates around and associates with that which has come before for thousands of years, in the case of our Akashic records and our past lives and things such as that. So there's a whole new paradigm arising. So we have to be not only ready but on guard to move with the times and to shift and to add our positive energy to the positive things and be in a position to resist negative things, because certainly there's so much negativity rising to the surface at the same time. And it's coming to be dealt with, to be learned of or from, and then passed on into the history of well, we did that. And so this is what's bringing the fourth dimension forward at a greatly accelerated pace. And it's going to continue. Mike, what do you see in the astrological portents?
Well, I really don't have that access to it in front of me today. I wasn't at the desk too much, so I'm not really prepared. Teacher, you caught me.
Well, be prepared, because it might catch you at any moment.
I know. Well, the way that these work too, we all know about the Grand Cross, and there is a lot of activity in the sky going on now. I mean, you have aspects that are applying, which means that as the planets move closer to each other, closer to zero, and then there's also a lingering effect of these things that go on as they're separating, and so you have what's called orb, and depending on who you're talking to, I mean, with large planets, I would use at least 3 to 5 degrees orb separating. So we still have lingering separating energy from the Grand Cross that happened recently. That's flowing out into the system.
Mm-hmm. I know some of you work with the tarot cards and things of that nature. Do you see anything exceptional coming? Any forewarnings of any kind? David? David Malden? He's got his computer on. Maybe he's not listening. What about you, Walt? What do you see happening?
In what sense? In the overall sense?
Yeah, in the overall shift of consciousness that's occurring.
I don't know. Today I was holding. On the back of the property here, we have 7 50-year-old spruce trees, and I was just holding onto them and offloading into the earth because I was asking with my pendulum, and the oppressive feelings I was having, it wasn't mine. It was from the collective. So I was just, discharging myself as much as I could. Mm-hmm. I thought I was dealing with my stuff, but it wasn't mine. So, the other thing that I think is, maybe it's just a feeling that's coming to a head is this, the thing that we spoke about yesterday on Saturday, how the U.S. is the last place where the changeover of the financial is being resisted. And I thought, and I had a perception like their base is the pyramid structure where everything goes up to the top, and they, the 1% owns everything, and they're the ones resisting. And then I thought, well, what happens if you remove everything that's under the top? It'll just collapse on its own. And I don't know if it's a perception or just my own wishful thinking, but I think that resistance is going to come to a head because you can't resist forever. Even stones change, so...
Well, one thing for certain about those forces is that when they're brought into the light, they cannot stand. Because they cannot stand scrutiny because it is so absolutely anti-human and anti-civilization, anti-goodwill and anti-evolution. And so this is why I say that domination always self-destructs. When it comes to the attention of the people, what's really happening and who is really managing things, then the people refuse to support them any longer, and it just collapses away, or they eat themselves up trying to maintain their power. Yeah. So I think we're seeing that happen right now.
It's slowly happening. It's perhaps that's why they have not seceded yet, is because the masses still are not willing to see it for what it is. So they are still being held up by the masses.
Mm-hmm. You're bringing up a question that I was thinking today of asking during our session with the group, is that on one side of the equation, yes, we are aware that, those at the top are resisting the change for obvious reasons. But also the human animal is such a creature of habit. Is a percentage of the collective also resisting the change because they're
attached to the old ways?
They're attached to the old way because at least it was horrible and disgusting, but at least I knew how to deal with it, whereas something new is terrifying because I've never seen it before. So it made me wonder if a percentage, not only those in charge, but if a certain percentage of the population are also putting on their form of resistance to the change, because there's an ocean of bitterness out there with the whole reevaluation thing. I mean, the disinformation war is at an all-time high when it comes to the subject of the reevaluation, and most people are just so disgusted that they don't even want to see the word written or pronounced because they'd say, okay, we're sick and tired of waiting. This is all fake. This is all a scam. So in a way, it's emotional, mental resistance when you think about it.
Well, we're all in that position in a way because the unknown is nobody knows. There's nobody on this planet knows how this is going to turn out once they change over
Correct.
the new money system. They haven't even made up their minds what they're going to do yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're building the plane in mid-flight.
Exactly.
Yeah, but nobody's watching the fuel gauge.
Yeah.
Well, another thought connected to that, too, is that Earth mind itself, the instinctive consciousness of human beings to rely on the things of the past that are secure and knowable, is certainly a deterrent also to moving ahead. Because at least it's something you can put your finger on and comprehend and deal with and debate, where the future and all the potentials that are there that we are creating as we move along, that future is a moving target. It's about the time you get something figured out and think that you can establish a dependency on a situation, and it shifts because of other inputs. And right. Catherine brought up an interesting point prior to the show, too, about all the misinformation and the negativity that filters into us constantly that we're not aware of, which helps to influence our decisions and our choices on the instinctive, intuitive side. And you want to tell us more about that, Catherine?
Well, I know in the book that you wrote, Clearing the Way, it talks on how you can clear out your chakras of, past and present. And I was thinking, well, to me, the chakras also filter things into the good or bad. And I was thinking of sieves, of how you have to clean sieves out, if you filter things through them, because it keeps getting piled up. So that, i.e., is like clearing the way, clearing out your chakras. And
what's a sieve? Sorry to interrupt.
I don't know. Somebody help me. What
screen?
A colander.
A bowl-shaped screen.
A strainer or a filter.
There, strainer is what I was looking for.
Is this something that we create ourselves, or somebody puts on you?
Well, no. That's how I just imagine on how we filter things.
Okay.
It's like call it like a grid. How. No, I don't want to go there because that's too far out. So, it's a grid, and you're filtering things through, and you need to clear out the gunk, the stuff that's not necessary, so that you are light enough to filter what needs to be filtered into, I'll use the word positive or good, or to be able to balance the positive, negative, which is both the same thing, but we just need it in this dimension that we're in.
Well, I think it's a good time to refresh our understanding of information, the source of information, and how we deal with it, too. Our unique human computer has a definite system of accessing information when it is challenged or when it has a need. The very first thing our minds do is we go to what we've learned, our conscious memory, and what we've accumulated in the way of information, knowledge on our path, and this, of course, means internalizing and downloading our parents and our families and the society we live in, so that we have a point of reference from the beginning that this is who I am because this is who I can identify with. But when that doesn't serve you anymore, the next thing you do is step back into the subconscious mind, and the subconscious reaches out into the common consciousness for information, and this can come to you through inner knowing or the rising of information from the chakras as a solution to whatever this question is you're holding in your mind when you ask the question. And that's those moments of aha that you get that you didn't have before, but suddenly it's there, and you can be pulling that out of your associates, out of the group mind consciousness field, and things such as that. But when that doesn't serve you, if it's something totally new and different that you has not come into the common consciousness, something that's new to be worked with or understood, or a principle perhaps that will help the whole consciousness to gain and grow, that's when we extend out and ask a higher source, and we go out through the higher chakras, rather than working through the lower chakras in Earth Mind for the instinctive prompting. The instinctive prompting comes first, and that's what's stored in Earth Mind and back for thousands of years. But that's what really holds the form of our realities, that instinct consciousness. But that fourth state I'm speaking of is totally new information, and that's what's happening to us now. The portals have opened because of the shift of consciousness that's occurring, because of the age, the new world reality that is upon us here. The shift from the 26,000 years in the old cycle into a whole new one, out of the third dimension into the fourth dimension. And we're just floundering children here. Those that have gone before us on other planes of consciousness, even ourselves, that have accumulated information in other experiences, other planetary systems and whatnot. We don't have that active information in our consciousness because we have to figure this out. It's only by internalizing and recognizing and making yourself rise to the need that you learn. And that's how you bring in new information. But with the clarity that's coming into our system at this time, we are getting more new intuitive information, more prompting from those sources that have gone before. And I know certainly the galactic flow is here helping us constantly. It surrounds us all. And in those deep moments of stepping back with your mind on a problem or on a subject, if you just let yourself go and don't pull from the other sources, but keep asking, like saying, what now, God, then those flows will gradually work into you in a way and a construct that you can assimilate and apply to our human situation here. And so when you find yourself going through the four-step process of trying to find information, perhaps it's better not to look to the past and to what we've learned and what we've been programmed. But now it's time to start looking ahead and asking from the future. Ask your future selves the solutions to the situation that answers our questions. And it'll certainly come. That's where I get most of my information, I think, is from a future self that would not be where it is at the present time if it hadn't sent information back to me that prompts me to do things and make choices now and on the way through, so it can be where it is in the future. Any comments on that?
That's what you're saying, in a way, parallels some of the information in the Book of One material. That book, it was a series of 5 books, I believe. The material that was channeled by Carla Rueckert and Don Elkins and Jim McCartney in the 70s. The three would get together and they would channel this sixth-dimensional entity that introduced itself as Ra, and it was very energy-consuming and time-consuming for them because whenever the lady would go into trance, they had to use 3 different pieces of recording equipment because invariably one of them would be burned to a crisp. But the point is that in those sessions that they were getting this information, in the session where Don Elkins is asking about the higher self, Ra explains that the higher self is 6-dimensional in nature, and it's your future self. The higher self is your future self coming back to you. And Don Elkins asked several questions to understand this because, as a human being asking the question, to him it doesn't make sense because he was an engineer and a pilot, so he's used to linear thinking. But that's what Ra explained, because it said that, remember in another session we spoke about that they don't classify things as good or evil. They only the only two spiritual polarities they speak of is service to self or service to others. And they said that service to self entities can only evolve up to the fifth dimension, because each dimension has an archetype. So the fourth dimension, the archetype of the fourth dimension is unconditional love, is when you work, understand, and unconditional love is part of your daily existence. The fifth dimension is wisdom. You move from unconditional love to true spiritual wisdom. And then the sixth dimension is when the two come together, so they must unite. So Ra explained that those entities that choose to exist as service to self, which is the nature of entities that feed off of other entities, they cannot make that leap from the fifth to the sixth dimension because they have to get rid of the illusion of separation, because a service to self is based on the illusion of separation. And if you want to go from fifth to sixth, you have to get rid of the illusion of separation because you are now entering into oneness. So it says that many entities have done that. I mean, they're as evil as can be, whatever, service to self, and then they make the change in order to continue their evolution. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how, since you have direct personal experience of all these higher dimensions, I don't know if you agree that the higher self is six-dimensional. If it comes from the future, that's where your experience, beats all the books out there.
Well, as you know, I don't read all the books out there.
Lucky you.
and in doing so, it allows me to listen and get things that I can find when I do go out and look to find confirmation for the information that comes through. And it's usually basic and clear. It's not cluttered up with a lot of thought forms and opinions and traditions and
interpretations.
There you go. Mm-hmm. So I've discovered that the simpler you can make something, the more easily it is to assimilate within yourself, so it works with you, the easier it is to communicate that to others and find a similar resonance with others. And Catherine was mentioning the filter of how do you filter out misinformation or information that's not credible or meaningful to you in this process of deciding who we are and where we're at and where we're going. And in a way, I think this is a benefit of turning away from the old established norms and being free and open to at least ask for and search for new norms, new means of communication, new thoughts. We're having to create a new language, a new terminology to describe what's coming through because it hasn't been here before. And this delights me too, to see people struggling with trying to interpret something when all they have to do is step back and listen for a moment, and then this new terminology will come through. Just a good case in point of that is the new world order that sounds like a good thing, but the dominator side was using it, so that would be their order. I always stumbled over new world order because it wasn't right, because what they were doing is ordering all of consciousness to their wants and needs and controls. But suddenly it popped into my head, well, what really need is new world reality, which we all get to contribute to and help in our co-creative process of thinking and making choices and dreaming and evolving. So a new world reality is something we all get to play in and help to direct and create. It's not going to happen otherwise.
I like that, Frank.
I'm experiencing a spontaneous world order.
Elaborate.
Well, things happen and they fall into place, and they were quite random, but they make sense in the end. And when you look back, it all drops into place. Spontaneous order.
Synchronicities.
Yeah.
I think that's a part of it, but that order is becoming a reality. See, so So in coining new terms or new paradigms, we have to grasp something beyond what's already been in form.
It's hard to mess with reality.
It's very secure, isn't it?
Very.
Everyone's listening. What are you hearing?
I'm hearing the love in my heart for everything. It's very joyous.
That's an interesting thought. Everyone tune in to Catherine and feel that joyous lightness that she is, that she expresses. This is one of the few people in the world who absolutely has pure love in her heart and has, I'll just feel it. Let it open up and feel, Catherine, and just radiate your love, Catherine, so we can become one with it. Now here, Catherine, is the answer to your question. How do you filter negativity? If you have this kind of pure love radiating from you, negativity just burns off out in your aura.
It doesn't stick.
Delightfully simple.
The more simple you make it, the more effective it is. And do you hear the sound of the galactic tones behind us now?
Yes.
That they're coming in agreement to what we're saying. Well, and well they should, because that's what I identify as being pure unconditional love, is the galactic flows. And they are simply the God-force consciousness expressing and delivering the potential of all things possible. And it's our selective choices and self-determination of those potentials is what creates the reality. So looking ahead into the fourth dimension, into the new world reality, let's vow to always look forward and never be pulled back into the old forms. Everything that comes into existence is created in thought before it can ever come into form. And that has to do with even topics of conversation or things that we're expressing. It always comes as the thought to precede the act or the word. And where does the thought come from? It comes from the subtle energy field of consciousness. And that's the level, that's the field that fascinates me. Because more and more I'm gaining the realization and giving up this physical reality of thinking I control things or control my own reality to the thought that the more I can cooperate with the subtle energy field, the more it'll just happily and naturally and spontaneously come into form in a way that's beneficial to everyone and not just self-thinking or whatever that terminology Walt used, self-serving.
Well, service to self.
Yeah. So in your thoughts, rather than trying to express it, which we have to rely on old forms for, in order to express it through our conscious reasoning brains, let's look into the future and not put it into a conscious form, but in a form of a thought, a unified thought form that we can reach out through the airways to everyone that's listening. Just step back now. Step back out of the frontal lobes. Step back into the soul center, which is really our guiding reactive force. Step back away deeper into the psychic center, but holding our attention out forward into the future. Now feel that unified field of intent. Pardon me. That rises through the psychic field. No, it doesn't originate there. It's shared there. Take a step further back yet into the subconscious field. And this is the one that's fed by earth mind. And the subtle energy. And then step back one level further into the subtle energy realm of where thought arises. The impetus, the guiding force comes from. Just let yourself step back and be in that state while you're holding your attention forward on what is to come in the future. How will the future be? We're creating a new template here. Now, I suggest that you not think words that describe it like unconditional love and dominion and all of that stuff. Out of the field, out of the subtle energy field, draw the form of reality. The realities in our future, the new world reality, as it is in the future. And pull that future back to you into this moment of now, into self-realization. And realize for it to be there, it's dependent on choices we make now. It's so interesting. When I move out, you do this in exact time frames. Go ahead 50 years in the future. Feel the world around you. And this is saying that you're going to live far beyond 50 years. We're coming to the point soon where we'll live 1,000 years or longer. From that 50-year point, we can look back at the chaos that's preceded that point, and it's just like in the midst of chaos and collapse, the new paradigms are rising, and at 50, we're just really getting established well. Now move on into 100 years, and feel the resonance of a world in dominion where we've learned the lessons, and it may have taken 100 years to do it. Do you see how the stress drops away? Even feel earth mind, how earth is coming into harmony with humans. And this is all done with feeling, nothing reasoning. It's to be felt. Feeling is the language of the universe. So we are creating our future and our progress forward to that point, 100 years in the future now, by pulling it back to us. No time or space. It's all happening in the moment of now. I just feel a wonderful, incredible joy, just like that feeling we had in Catherine's heart.
I felt a wave of relief, just lightness. Beautiful. We can't go wrong now. It's there.
And here the galactic cones coming up. They're saying, yes, this is the way to do it. So in our choices, the lesson we're getting is to listen forward, not to look backward or hold on to old forms.
with childlike abandon.
Let's
Like
load
a
up the
chariot
wagon and
driver.
bring it back with us.
Like a chariot driver. He's always looking ahead. He doesn't have time to look back.
Well, children only look back to see if mom and dad are watching.
Or looking sideways to see if they're being judged.
That's a taught thing. But not in this reality.
Doesn't this feel wonderful? This flow of energy is coming back to us. The warmth, the love, the knowing that it's all okay. Let's radiate that out to the rest of the world. We send it as a wave, a standing wave around the world. Traveling with the sun, so as the sun arises, the wave will enter everyone's heart in the morning and change their entire perspective of their day, because they'll be looking ahead instead of looking back. And let's let this wave neutralize all standing forms of negativity. And so everyone in this new day, this new dawning, this new reality, new world reality, their choices are for service instead of self-serving. And this is what Dominion is all about. And feel the flow growing, it's intensifying, because the galactic flow has been waiting for us to come to this self-realization. And in doing so, we can become co-creators. Now, just as we have been storing energy in the golden grid around the Earth, in our Earth Mind Think Tank group, and the Wolfsbart Radio supporters, now we have a really wonderful place to put that energy. Let that energy flow back down from the golden grid into this wave, descended all the way around the world with the dawning of every morning. So every day is a better day than the day before. People are prompted to make right choice. Anyone will make right choice if they can rid themselves of fear, domination. So we're prompting everyone to look ahead into the light of the new dawn, the new day, and the creation of the new world reality. And Stephen says, and so it is, and so it shall ever be. Now we understand why we've done the earthquake work for the last 3 years. It's to accumulate the energy, the power, the force of consciousness to bring the new world order into being. The new world reality, rather. What are you feeling, Diane?
Well, I'm just really feeling beautiful energy, just smooth and calm, and I'm just maintaining it, and I feel it spreading out from the heart. Very, very beautiful space. It's here now. I don't have to wait for it to come. We're here. Beautiful.
Yes, we are.
Do we need to ask the devas to sustain it, or that's a given?
Let's ask Rachel to give us a tone to fix it in the standing waves. Can you do that for us, Rachel?
Oh, yeah, good one.
Okay, let's see.
That's the most powerful expression of human intent I ever heard in my life. Okay, we have a request from Free Sovereign. Can Frank address the concepts of personal clearing as to when there's a congestion of many collected frequencies in conflict, such to sort out the individual components for clearing, when the received consciousness is that they are all interlocked? That's an interesting question. Let's look at that for a moment. Fits in with exactly what we're doing. What I see is an intense tangle of thought forms, like a woven mass, things interrelating, getting stronger and stronger as more negativity or negative forms are pulled from the past into this present form. But what I see is pulling from the future. I see the future pulling the positive strings of energy and consciousness out of this mat of this morass of energy we live in, And as we learn to follow those positive strings and flows into the future and pull the resolution of the conflict from the future into this moment of now, everything comes into alignment, and those cross threads in this mat of consciousness wither away from lack of support. In our lives are an incredible loom of interwoven consciousness creating the reality. So we see the weave focus going forward, the powerful strands, and the cross strands relating in a higher and higher levels of frequency that simply allows the old negative forms to dissipate away. They just don't exist. They've done their job of forcing us, driving us to make right choice for survival. And we're going beyond survival now to the creation of a new world reality. How interesting that we're not talking, we're not trying to justify what we're doing. We simply have all of our focus and attention in this moment of now that stretches into the future and coming back from the future to this moment of now and into our past. So this moment of reality increasingly comes into the not only just the self-realization, but the unified realization that everything exists and always will in this moment of now. And what we want to have appear in this moment of now is dependent on our thoughts and our reaching to source for the purest of thoughts that's the most beneficial to all in dominion. Learning to serve, letting go of the need to be served. Now feel your hearts growing and a clarity coming into your own systems that you may have never felt before. A clarity. Search your systems for any blocks or any resistance coming from the old forms. Clear your human biocomputer now of old forms of realities and allow the new manifestation to occur within you. You are the key and the core of the new world reality. And the new lesson is this. When the cross strands appear, the counterproductive situations in the grid of consciousness, don't give them energy. Don't reinforce them by giving them energy or power. Simply say, visualize, manifest that they don't exist. There's nothing to support them. This is exactly what will bring down the Illuminati and the Cabal and those great powers that hold the financial structure of the world. We simply reach beyond them to the new world order and allow their system to self-destruct, as domination always self-destructs. And we spread this intent lifted into the golden grid as the resonance of the new world reality that will come into the hearts and minds of every person on earth with the new dawn of every day. And so it is. Can we take a little break here, JP? And maybe when we come back, we'll be settled in and can do some healing work.
Well, I think we all went out somewhere with this one.
JP?
Frank?
Can we take a break now so we can find ourselves and find our way back home again?
Let's see what we can do. Who have I got lined up here? I've got... Oh, yeah. This is called Solar Liquid, so you'll be able to wind your way back more gently. Welcome back. That was Solar Liquid by Chris Bull. He's an erstwhile listener. He's doesn't hang around very much anymore, but he created these pieces and sent them in. It's good to play them occasionally. So, Frank, how are you doing? Are you there?
Oh, we're here. I see there's some requests coming in for some healing work.
We've got a big list here.
We seem to be heavy on the heart problems tonight. And so this, looking at it from a metaphysical point of view, that would mean heart heaviness from circumstances and of our reality. I think what we just did, if these people were listening, would have lifted their vibrational frequency considerably and help them to manifest healing, but we'll work directly with them now too. So let's look at Holly in the Wolf Spirit chat. A request for Francine, Russell Island, Australia. Had 4 attacks, strokes in the last week. Wake up with angina attacks again. All right, to the people who know her that made the request, bring them into your heart now. Bring her into our circle, and we expand our morphogenic field around her to include her. Francine on Russell Island. Francine. So many times heart is a result of just tiring of the struggle, the emotional conflicts. So do just what we just did. Turn to the future and let go of the stresses of your past. The physical aspects of the heart and the fact it's your subconscious mind has concluded that it's better to check out than to fight the battle. With your higher consciousness, you can come to the realization and the self-realization that, all right, we've been there and done that, those things of the past. We've worn our body out in our mind, and yet the subconscious is not willing to let go. Therefore, now we will let go of the stress. I have your heart in my hands. The entire group has your heart in our hands. But more important than healing the heart is clearing the mental emotional cause, the stress, the conflict. Let it all go. Through the power of the Christ within us, we see Francine's heart in the perfect and normal condition. More importantly, we see her life balance and come into a healing of her life, where she creates her reality by looking ahead and manifesting rather than looking back and dragging the past with her. Through the power of the Christ within us, we see Francine in the perfect and normal condition. And this is well said for anyone out there who has heart or emotional problems of any form. By releasing that which has been, you are the co-creator of that which will be and which is now. And so it is. Now from Rachel, we need healing for Tom in Ojai, California, for his heart. He was in the emergency room last night. We go to Tom through Rachel. It's kind of the same situation. Let go of the mental emotional stress around your heart. And Tom, for you, it's knowing that all the things you have in your that you carry of concern in your body for your reality means nothing. None of those physical, mental, emotional things mean a thing. They're just there for the experience. So make the choice now to make positive, right choice in every moment of stress, and delete, clear, and release those things that are breaking your system down, that would sustain your life. Through the power of the Christ within us, we see Tom's heart in the perfect and normal condition, his blood vessels clearing of the plaque, clearing. He may have a pollution of some kind that contributed to this. May have been a smoker in the past or been exposed to chemicals, or clear that and release that also. And join with us, Tom, in looking ahead into a joyous reality that is already there. Now we have Dave in Ventura, California, for heart, high blood pressure, stress, needs a new creative job. Precisely, this is the theme for the evening. is looking at your reality and recognizing what the choices you've made in the past that brings you to this point of choosing, do you want to go on? Is it worth the effort? What do you have to do? It's quite simple what you have to do. Dave, you simply let it all go and look ahead, and from the future pull that beautiful, incredible reality that we've created around the world that is shifting the world into dominion, where your new creative job is just automatically there, because you'll find you'll be drawn to that which serves you well and gives your heart joy instead of the constant dread and pain of having to maintain the forms of the old reality you've created. Everything you've created behind you is just not worth it. There's nothing there worth it. Think about what would happen if you checked out today. What would happen to those things? They'd all get split up and dissipate away anyway, so let them split up and dissipate away while you maintain your power and your creative force to move ahead and create a new reality, not only for yourself but for your family. Because I feel a lot of the family is pulling on you to sustain and hold the forms of their reality. Let go of the responsibility. Let each be responsible for himself, or to learn responsibility. We may think we're alone in our individual reality, but actually we share everything with everyone else. And so when you download from others and take on their responsibilities, it's to your detriment. Let the energy move outward, a positive, creative, manifestive energy. Outward to bring solutions, to prompt solutions within those who would dump their energy, their needs on you. Okay. We move right on to Michael from Laguna Hills, California. Needs help in clearing stress, clearing people embezzling money from him, has an unfairness piece that needs to be cleared. Exactly, Michael, as long as you hold on to the resentment of the choices and results of what you made, it'll keep recreating that again and again and again. Like attracts like. Patterns that are negative in our life and reality are to be learned from and moved beyond, not carried forward and repeated again and again and again. So everything we've been talking about pertains to you also. Look ahead, lighten up, find life, live life. Don't live the past. The past is ashes. Let the ashes blow away in the wind. Let go of the resentments, the unfairness, the feeling of being taken advantage of, because really you agreed to it and you knew the potential of what could happen. And now in your future choices, you'll have the opportunity to learn from the wisdom you've gained and can only do better. And from Diane, we have a healing request for her ex-husband, Pete. He entered the now vacant house on our property and picked up entities. He came to me acting very erratic, trying to instigate an argument, telling me I'm not a good person and I'll be sorry one day when I fall flat. I had just smudged and cleared my house and he was jumpy and irritated. I asked him to leave. I think Pete needs a lot more than a smudging with a piece of sage or something.
Well, actually, I had smudged my house, and when he came in, it affected him. Like the house was very clear, and he wasn't. And so the energy was annoying him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wasn't that rewarding to see him?
Oh, absolutely. It was mind opening, and he said, "You need to meditate more." Mm-hmm. It was kind of funny, but in a way, I felt badly for him because he had just come from that place, that house, and I know it's...
Well, Pete, clearing you of entities is a work of but a moment. Giving you the self-realization to protect yourself and be in charge of your reality is the work of a lifetime.
Yes. He's learning.
Okay, we did that. Healing request for Teresa. Pain behind her right eye. Okay, I better check this one out. Just give me a moment. Teresa, you have a little being behind your right eye that somehow you open up and allow it in. So I want you to think back of your past activities in the last week or so and see who, what, or where the source of that was. Just do that now and it'll come right into your awareness. Now send this little being back to its own right and proper place. Create a torus in your right temple and just spin it out back to its right and proper place. It doesn't even know that it's harming you. But it's there because you open up to someone. So we're doing win-win here. The person that came from got cleared. You're getting cleared, and the entity's going back to its right and proper place. Through the power of the Christ within us, go into the light. There, now close that portal that allowed it to come in. That is your portal of you reaching out without checking. Okay, how does it feel?
It originally felt like a bruise inside from my forehead down behind my eye, and it seems to be diminishing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it'll continue to clear out. Okay, healing request for Nikki Lewin for Scotland. She has shingles in her right eye. It is very uncomfortable. Shingles is a latent virus. They're from measles, as I understand. Or was it chicken pox, one or the other? All right, we go back in the time, to the time and space when Nikki contracted the chicken pox. Take her back prior to that time, when she was exposed, and we heal her system, bring up her spontaneous, natural healing protective shield that repels all intrusive organisms, and we bring her forward from that time up to now, and then on into the future with the natural antibodies to resist and clear and delete the viruses. And we explain to the viruses that yes, they have a right to life, but we want them to reduce their numbers to the point where they're not inclement to the host. Reduce your numbers, reduce the toxins that you're releasing. The toxins are what's causing the problem. And we're creating a vorus that's taking the life force away from the excess organisms. There'll always be a few there, but as long as she keeps herself strong and keeps her healing center of consciousness high, they will not affect her. Okay, so it is. Moving right along, do we have anything else today?
Well, I can see. There we go. Kitty healing. Diane's cat, Charlie, male cat, pinched nerve, right rear leg, offside rear, as we'd say.
All right, Charlie. Diane, put your right forefinger on that spot. You'll intuitively know where it is.
I'm doing it etherically because he's in the other room.
All right, it doesn't matter.
I got him.
Now feel this flow going through your finger. That forefinger is negative polarity. No, that's the positive polarity. Just zap that nerve. And I see a beautiful blue energy flowing around it now. Right out of your finger. Just wrap it in this beautiful healing nerve energy. This isn't the one that was hit by a car, is it?
Oh, no, that was one of my dogs, but he did fine.
Oh, okay.
She did fine. I feel it a lot through the thumb, going up to the finger.
Yeah. Yeah, just kind of rub that spot, even though it's internal to his leg there. There.
Oh.
That feels better. Let us know how you feel, Charlie.
Yeah, he's a good boy. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a request for my friend Marianne. She just recently moved from her house to an apartment after 20 years being in a house, and now downsized into an apartment, and she feels lost and sort of displaced. She said she feels like she's been in a hotel for a while and just wants to go home. Mm-hmm. But the home's gone.
Well, we're feeling Marianne now in that place, and what she's feeling is the resonance of all the prior people who have been there and around. So let's clear their energy out. And we do that, creating this clockwise spiral beneath where she is down into the earth, just pulling the old latent energies and thought forms. All the shocks and traumas and negative interactions flowing down into the earth, where they'll be processed back into energy again, available energy. There, now, Marianne, let go of that pain in your heart, too, having to leave your old home. Let it go. Now, Marianne, reach your awareness back to your home and that feeling, that ambience that the house divas created for you there. Internalize that into your heart and bring it into the new dwelling. Bring the divas from the prior house with you. They'll help you to create a new reality. Fill up the space now with joy and light and happiness and the feeling of belonging. And reach out into the neighborhood. Send that desire to be known and to fit in with the others, and give them the desire to know you and understand you for the beautiful person you are. There, does that feel better, Teresa?
Yeah, I felt it, and she's sitting here with me, and
Oh, wonderful.
I can feel her smiling.
All right, okay. Well, I can ask you, Marianne, how does it feel? Does it feel better now?
Yes, Frank, actually, I do feel a lot better. I love the idea of the divas. My house divas coming with me.
Mm-hmm. My departed wife, Jane, recognized the divas and everything, and she always brought the car divas with us when we got a new car, and they got to learn and experience and grow in the new vehicle, and it was more fun playing with them, because she had such a great attunement, imagination, that it just makes life better if you realize you're part of a whole, not being subjective to whatever happens around you.
Sure. And I've been a homeowner for 34 years, so this feels like a shock. All of a sudden, everything is small.
Yeah.
So to have them to play with is very nice. Thank you.
Well, it feels to me like you're fitting in very well. Just let that beautiful joy you have spread out through the neighborhood, and you'll help heal the whole neighborhood. Okay, do we have any other requests this time?
There's not much going on here tonight. I'm just because Nikki, my friend, had heard hurrah, and so thank you very much. One of the things I've been talking about, and this is something that you'd relate to, I'm sure, is whenever somebody complains about a pain in their body, a lot of the time I say exactly where is it, and then I say, do you know anybody who's born such and such a time, which is the astrological position of that day, and there's like 360 points on the body that correspond to astrological positions, and it's pretty spot on usually. So if you've got an issue with your right eye, just to see, do you know anybody whose birthday is around the April the 5th or 6th? That's because that's where it goes from Aries in the head all the way down to Pisces in the feet. You can look it up. I might post it. I'll post it to the Facebook page.
JP, do I dare ask where Scorpio is?
Oh, I think I know that. And Scorpio's a pain in the ass.
Exactly. Scorpio is exactly the rectum.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For November the 18th in particular, that's the precise spot.
Oh, mine's the 20th.
Maryland's it's the 21st.
Oh.
Yeah.
JP, could you post it on the chat room, please? I don't.
Okay, give me a minute. Keep talking about it. Keep talking about it, and I'll post it.
I'm not connecting. I don't really understand the cartography of that on the body. Is that what it's referring to? The face of the front of the body and the points, or is it?
I know that there's 361 wait a minute. Acupuncture, thank you. Yeah, there's 361 acupuncture points, so that's just about 365. So maybe it relates to the points on the body.
Probably.
That's a good one. I like that. That kind of has, it sort of rings true with a book that Doreen Virtue wrote about different emotions are connected also to different parts of the body. I do not recall the title of the book, but...
Okay, I found it here, and I'm going to paste it, first of all, into the All Spirit chat room, and now into the Think Tank chat room there. And it's a fascinating thing. I want to gather some data. It's kind of anecdotal most of the time, but...
Right.
When I spoke to my friend, and I said, do you know anybody whose birthday is April the 5th or 6th. She immediately said, my ex-husband.
Oh, how funny. I have to find out where the pain in the neck comes from. Maybe it's him.
So, I still don't understand the April the 5th or 6th, how it connects to me. I don't know anybody with that birthday.
Might be somebody that you don't know, somebody that you just met. Were you exposed to? Were you going to the psychic fair? Was it you or was it Susan?
I went to a dowsing conference. So
maybe someone there.
This is a male. All right, so you see, if it's on the right side of the body, it's for the male, and if it's on the left side of the body, it's for female. The same as Frank. Frank is working with this as well, so it totally corresponds. So, I mean, you might be looking at a man who's very persuasive, that you're not wanting to look at something, I don't know, or he's presented something unpleasant to you that you don't want to see. I'm just trying to... because
Endoidal cavity.
Yeah, the orbital cavity...
I thought it was an entity, though.
Yeah, it was an entity.
Yes, Catherine, but she may have received it from someone on that that has that birthday, because Frank said it was transferred from someone to her.
Or the person...
Right temple area.
Yeah, sorry, Frank.
Right temple area is the relationship area where we tend to store relationships, interactions, if that helps.
Well, I'll play with it. I'll douse it and figure out who it was. No one came to mind. I've been in many areas lately, and meeting a lot of different people. So I'll just pinpoint it with dowsing.
Is your eye getting better now?
It still feels bruised in the back a little bit, but it's certainly not as uncomfortable as it was earlier today. Okay. It all started actually in the middle of the night, and I had a headache all night.
You may have broken a small blood vessel back there too. That's the kind of injuries that quite often cross-dimensional entities, life forms will enter because of the stress in the aura. It opens a portal for them to come in.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was going to say, is that it may not necessarily be the entity came from somebody with that birth sign, but it's that energy is sort of there's a weakness there that the thing was able to enter, if you see what I mean. I think I said just the same as what Frank just said.
That makes sense. So there's that displacement in the aura, like if you were looking at Correllian photography, there would probably be a space in that area, or a distortion of some kind.
Precisely.
And so the vibroports would be exposed. That does make some sense.
So when you look at that, I mean, you can look at all of the rest of it. What is the heart? What's the part that gets the heart? And that's the Cancer. Where is that? June. Yeah, we're coming up to it, aren't we? Coming up to this this hot time of the year.
You said the heart time?
Yeah, we're coming up. Well, Cancer. Middle. We're in the middle. We're now in Gemini. So where are we? About Gemini 11, 10, 11. Typhoid, lungs, thymus gland is today. So every day has a different frequency, and every frequency affects the body in a different way. It's really interesting.
So I'm a very strong Cancer, and I've had they can't undiagnosed chest pain for a long time, but we did some clearing with that, so I haven't had any of that. So that would relate, JP?
Yeah, well, I mean, imagine that we go through a sweep. It's like the sweep of the rainbow light that we've all been using. It sweeps through. It sweeps through all the frequencies. So every year we go through a cycle. And when people talk to you, and like we were actually talking about this in the last show, in my show in Ever Beyond. When somebody is giving you love, often their voice starts high and then slowly drops until it gets down to a kind of low thing, and it's kind of they're actually doing a kind of vocal sweep, and sometimes even people go, oh, and actually that's exactly what you need to feel, because it kind of it unruffles your feathers, because it's feeding you certain frequencies, a sweep of frequencies. What do you think about that, Rachel?
Radar.
Does radar do that?
It sweeps.
So it does.
And so does Catherine on her deck. She has ants. She's the grim sweeper, I hear.
Grim sweeper.
But she's smiling as she sweeps.
Is that the
and not in an
sweeper?
even condition. Well, I will say that the Buddhist in me comes out, and I just go, oh, gosh, just tell them to leave, and if they don't, it's their own fault.
It's their karma for choosing a particular point to be at that particular time.
That's right. I invite the flies to leave willingly. If not, I'm not responsible for what happens next.
Oh, Frank.
We can't coincide in the house.
I had a friend come round to my house the other day. He has been fighting leukemia, and we did a healing for him one day, and he came back, and, I'm really glad of it. He's a lovely guy. He's shrunk. He's lost a lot of his body weight and height and stuff, and he's weak, but he's kind of coming back. But it was interesting because he totally corroborated what you said about cancer. He said that 10 years ago that he felt really overstressed and felt that he would rather die, felt that he wanted to die. And that set in a series of weaknesses that started with kidney issues, and he went to healers and things like that. But, it's only when you face these things that you know what you've said, isn't it?
Yeah, before he spoke that or expressed it, he was dysfunctional in life or fed up with life. The subconscious mind was already feeling the stress of lack of joy and fulfillment and completion and anticipation of the future. So the subconscious is incredible, literal. It's there to serve you, even though it carries its own agenda, and it'll quite happily concede to taking you down if that's what you requested. And once that's implanted back there, it takes a lot of energy because all the forward motion from that point on is reinforcing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was totally driving himself. He literally drove himself to London. I did it once for him. I drove his van to take the equipment, and somebody else gave the course. By the time I got there, I was exhausted. I had to sleep for a day and a half to recover. But he used to go straight in and then do a course for a weekend and then drive all the way back. I didn't know where he was getting it from, because I certainly didn't have it in me to do that. And, it was always very stressful working for him, I have to say, even though what he was doing was a really good thing. He was selling essential oils, and he was an expert on stuff like tea tree oil and all these oils.
Oh,
fantastic stuff. But now his son is in charge, and he went to business school, so he's got some efficiency, so he's got time for himself, and he's not going to burn himself out like his dad. So basically, a kind of thank you very much, Frank, and a corroboration of the things that you say.
Our pleasure. I have a healing request. Joan is still in Reno. Her knee is coming along very rapidly. The joint is wonderful. She loves that, but it's the tissues that were torn up and disarranged on the back of her leg, and the ligaments and tendons and things that are very sore and swollen yet. So let's all focus our attention on Joan in Reno.
Which knee, Frank?
Pardon?
Which knee?
Left knee.
Oh, good. I thought so. I'm seeing them going from
we're creating a vortex of energy around that knee that's spinning counterclockwise, looking down from above on it, and that's taking out the shock, the trauma, all the edema. And the shock of the operation, go back in time. Go all the way back in time to the point where she first made up her mind, because the knee was starting to go bad, that she was going to have a knee replacement someday. And she was afraid of that. And this was prior to her being with me, and so by the time she got to me, the efforts to heal that knee the knee would accept it wonderfully, and then when she'd go to bed and sleep at night and get up the next morning, it would be back again. So we could only realize that the healings were successful. It was a subconscious mind recreating the situation because it hadn't been dealt with. And this is an example of how to do that right now. And each one of these is an extreme learning process. Now reverse the flow, looking down clockwise, and see it as a chartreuse green, which manifests new tissue, bone, healing the metal end of the bone. And we see the ligaments stretching and not hurting. And we reach into her future and pull back the right and perfect order when everything's back in balance and harmony again. And this is what she wanted. So it's fascinating to watch what people create in their minds and how it goes ahead and manifests out, even though you may think it's inappropriate at the moment of now. Okay, that feels better. All right, that feels good. Okay.
I just realized where I picked up the entity. I was delivering some belongings of my own to, I was donating them to a place that, I don't know what you call it in the States. There's a variety of secondhand places. And a gentleman and his wife and baby came up and was asking a question about some of the stuff that was in one of those storage boxes. And I asked him, I was curious about what he did, why he was curious about the question he was asking me. And he said, I don't do that anymore because I have cancer. And then he flipped his shirt up, and he had a colostomy bag on his belly and huge scars, and he was telling me all of the adventures of how many surgeries he had, and it kind of jolted me. And I just realized it was at that moment, that is when he passed one over. And I suspect with all the surgeries that he had, he may still have plenty more to share.
Absolutely. Well, bringing back in mind, let's take our point of attention back to him and Clary now of his problems. We can do this because he offered to show you his problems and asking for help.
I also feel there's a lot
He's
of
asking
shock
for your
there.
sympathy. Yeah, clear the shock. Okay, that feels good. There's a class of entities that move into wounds and of any kind or shocks or traumas. And they're there because of the energy that's being released, the healing energy. And they love healing energy. And they just thrive on it, and they multiply and until the point where they create a worse problem than what was the injury caused. And I call them antigens because they're negative polarity, and they're really horrible little buggers to get out. But once you learn how to do it, it's quite easy to eject them. You have to create a negative polarity in the person by spinning their auric field counterclockwise from right to left in front of them. And that repels them because the little entities being negative, you create a negative field in your aura, it repels them. So you healers might want to watch for that one, because you can pick this thing up so easy by just putting your hands on someone who has a load of that stuff, and you just feel it start climbing up your arm. It's horrible to get rid of.
I get the feeling that he shared his shock with her when he lifted up his shirt. You didn't want to see that, did you?
No.
You weren't expecting that.
Yeah. So there's your shock, right? And that can cut right open.
Exactly.
Oh, yes.
Well, you've got to always expect the unexpected. Then if you can get into that state of expecting the unexpected, then you'll be able to handle whatever this unexpected is.
A lot of the things that happen to eyes or behind the eyes is from seeing things you didn't want to see, and the energy of whatever you're viewing, it sends a wave and a shock into that area. I've healed people's eyes who are almost blind by clearing things that they didn't want to see, so they'd be willing to come back and see the world again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any other joyful discussions?
One time during our meditation, many months ago, we were talking about antigens, and I recall just during the meditation, just holding my pendulum up and looking at the pattern it created as it was dangling down, and it was creating like the flower of life. And then I just closed my eyes as I realized what it was doing, and suddenly the subtle energy of that flower of life just stood up on its end and started to spin. And it must have been a negative spin, because all of a sudden, just on the right side of my chest, this thing that I'd never seen before. It was about a foot long and kind of smoky, like a misty color. It was pointed at both ends and about an inch round, and it just coiled out of my body and up into a torus. And I was watching it. I could see it sort of coiling out. It was really quite bizarre, and I didn't realize what it was. But and it was almost as though I had some help from somewhere else that put that in motion for me, and it was a wonderful discovery. And
well, I'll tell you that there's just a lot of that stuff around in people who need healing. And Jane used to call them snakies. That was one of her specialties, was finding the snakies and clearing them out of people. And they're just life forms that see us as just a nice energy field to graze in. And if our aura's broken and they get in, then they just take up and feed off of us like parasites.
So that's not a bad exercise to use for future antigen removals, is just visualize that spinning coming through the aura to clear it off.
Yeah, that's good. Good tool.
Well, could we request that we develop some type of snakies that would remove fat from the belly? If they could feed on just that would be good.
I'm not going to go there.
There's some things I'd willingly share with a parasite.
Healer first, I heal myself, and no one's seen my belly lately.
I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Well, if there are no further discourses, we're about there, JP.
Okay, my friends, it's been lovely. We're going to be joined by Eva Moore. She's got William Stillings on. That's going to be an exciting show. He's coming up with some really genius plans and genius ideas. I had him on the show last week. Thank you very much, Frank, and thank you, everybody. Lovely, big, cozy, warm. It's like all gathered around a big fire in a cozy old castle somewhere. Anyway, that's where's your outro. Having said that, there we are. Yeah, there we go. Good night, everyone.
Good night, all.
Love you.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks, JP. Thank you.